Right. So speaking of series now, let's open with Black Lightning, season 4, right? This is one of the CW superhero shows. Basically in part of the Arrowverse. So right around the time when when Flash and Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow and all this stuff was doing their thing, and of course Supergirl.
Yeah.
This show dropped, right? Black Lightning, right? And just to kick things off, I just want to talk about just how we approach the series itself, right? I believe we've covered all 3 seasons, well, the 3 seasons up to this one thus far, right?
Right.
And I still believe that the third season is the best, and not just because
overall,
it springs up from the big Arrowverse crossover, that's the Crisis on Infinite Earths,
right.
but it just had such a great villain in terms of Wayne Brady, right, being Gravedigger.
No,
Just such a fantastic villain.
Yeah, for me overall, Black Lightning has been better than the CW because of the format. Better than the rest of the CW shows, simply because it's a shorter format. Like at face value, you'll say, "Oh, it got in less time, therefore it's inferior," or something like that. And well, if the ratings say anything, then yes, the answer is yes. It kind of taken an L or two, in that sense. But quality-wise, I think Black Lightning has been pound for pound one of the better series overall, right?
Because, I agree.
Because like the reason why Flash like consistently shit in the bed since season 4, season 3 I would argue, is because just the format just so goddamn long. It's like 20 some odd episodes. It's like, why they don't have less episodes like the thing? Like we know the answer because money, but like you cannot make an effort now. Like whatever. Then another thing about Black Lightning, just before we finish, you continue you talk about this thing, is that because Black Lightning is just a good time, Black Lightning, it just so happened to come at the same time Black Panther came out, right? Black Lightning premiered what like about a month before Black Panther was released.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so about around that time. I was like, okay, we get what they're doing there, but for the most part, to me, it has been pound for pound one of the better shows. It's well thought out. They actually like thinking ahead of time. They're actually doing all the things that I suggest they do for the other shows. It's like, hey, if you're doing this, and then the next season you should do this, and then you should do this and have it make sense and have it sit down with it. Whilst with the other shows, they don't give a shit. Just half-assing it, right? Especially Flash. Flash has been really, really in a mess this wrong.
I honestly have not even started watching this new season. I will, but
Flash
was sweet time.
Yeah,
I got burned with the last season.
I've had zero interest in Flash. So to be fair, they kind of pulling and front loading everything with the new Superman and Lois series, which is going pretty good. I've really enjoyed it so far, especially with it had a little character reveal recently, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, Black Lightning has been doing a good job with the material. Anyway, tell me about this new season, man.
Yeah. So, we will talk more about the series as a whole because, this is the final season. So, at the end of this review, we'll just do just like a basically final opinion of the whole series, right? So this picks up right where we left off, basically where Gravedigger was defeated. This war against the Markovians, that's this country. This basically this country that was trying to invade the town of Freeland, and basically just trying to acquire a bunch of metas, right? So basically people like Flash who have powers, but they're not aliens like say Supergirl, right? In the process, the police chief Bill Henderson is shot, right, and he dies. And we open up now with 1 year later, and basically our hero Black Lightning, who is played by Jefferson Pierce, aka Jefferson Pierce, he is just feeling that weight of his best friend that basically dying, right? And as a result, he once again hangs up the costume, right? And this is basically a theme that runs throughout this show, the idea of even if you don't have the costume on, are you still Black Lightning? If you have those powers, or if you don't have the powers, which again too, are you still worthy of being this hero, right? But yeah, basically he's still mourning the death of his friend. Everyone else is pretty much moving on. So his two daughters, who go by the aliases Lightning, that's the youngest,
Yeah,
and Thunder, who also goes by Blackbird because she also has a second alias, this more kind of, dark clothing, mask over she face kind of, vigilante basically, right? But she's more to the ground, basically just trying to, just trying to protect matters and, impoverished people in the area now. Because yeah, basically things are going to shit once again, I mean? Just a lot of crime, a lot of violence, stuff like that. And then our boy, Tobias Whale returns now because
right.
yeah, he wasn't really in the third season. He shows up near the end, and we didn't really know what plan he was coming up with. But yeah, the plan is clear now because basically, in a nutshell, he wants to become Mia. And yeah, he orchestrates this really elaborate plan to do so. But at the same time, he also wants to get rid of the Pierces, like once and for all. He wants to wipe them out, right? And he knows who. Well, he always knew. Well, he knew eventually that Jefferson was Black Lightning, right? But throughout the series, he learned about everybody else, right? Speaking of everybody else, there's also the mom. Well, basically, it's Jefferson's ex-wife, basically, because yeah, something that I honestly forgot that they divorced basically,
Right.
but they're just there basically for their two daughters, right? So Lynn, who is this doctor, this was scientist basically, from the last season, she became addicted to injecting herself with meta powers, with genes basically, right? Which they acquire from the metas themselves, right? Because they had them, basically um stored basically, right? Just hidden away, and they were doing experiments on them, right? So yeah, she would just kind of inject herself and just be this kind of human guinea pig. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? How to handle the metagene and all that kind of stuff, right? Even Tobias does the same thing too, so he could actually like deflect, Black Lightning's powers as well, right? But in a nutshell, what it is about now is that yeah, you know what I mean. Tobias has this plan basically to basically to rule Freeland, if you would. I keep saying Freetown, right? But there's this drama with Jefferson himself, who just does not want to be Black Lightning anymore. He runs afoul of the police ever so often. He goes a little too far actually by attacking gang members. And when I say gang members, I'm talking about the 100 gang basically, or is it the 101? I think it's the 100 gang basically, who is run by the second antagonist in the series, Lala, right? Yeah, he shows up again. He still has that power where he's able to basically suck people's well, I want to say, for lack of a better term, souls basically, and sometimes he could draw them out and he could talk to them, but he's the only one who sees them now. So yeah, he wants to rule Freeland as well, but it's like I want to take down Tobias, right? And while all this is going on, Lightning now, she is going through her little drama as well because she learns that she could acquire more of her power basically through something called the ionosphere, right? So just this section of space that she could go up to,
Right.
and basically she'll just acquire all these powers, right? Just kind of boost her powers up, right? But the problem is that if she overdoes it now, what I mean, she basically shuts down, right? She stops flying, she gets weaker and all that kind of stuff, right? And something happens, which I will get into in my review itself, kind of spoiler free, that like truly affects her, right? And yeah, that's really what it is, right? And just everything kind of coming full circle basically, especially the conflict between Jefferson and Tobias, because yeah, pretty much that's how it all started. Because if you remember, years ago, Tobias like brutally beat his Jefferson's dad to death, and that's where basically Jefferson just had this grudge against Tobias, right? And I'll stop here. So still for me, season three is the best, right? Just getting it out the way, right? But I would say, just in terms of what you said about how tighter the seasons are with Black Lightning, which is true because we don't get 23 episodes like
Yeah.
Flash or
No.
or Arrow, right? But we get like a tight 16 or whatever, right? But in this case, we get 13, and apart from a few pacing issues and a few story arcs which I felt didn't really matter in the long run. Um, this was still a solid season, man, and I would say this was a rather satisfying way to end the series, right? So just to get the good out of the way, everybody still comes through and does their thing. I mean, Chris Williams, he still shines as Jefferson. He really nails the whole. I'm a dad. I'm a principal at this school, but I'm also trying to be this vigilante. But I just really don't want to do this anymore because I'm tired and I'm fed up, right? And you have characters like say James Remar who
Yeah,
he's a tech guy basically, so he designs the suits and you know they always make it out like he is the guy who just knows how to figure out everything. Like any little technical situation that they find themselves into, they always work their way around it, right? So yeah, he's there as well. There's a subplot involving him and an old flame who is working for this corporation that wants to introduce these high-powered rifles that so basically they're gonna like arm the police with them now. So the plan is that they have a chance of getting metas now. You know what I mean? Like just like a one shot, one kill kind of vibe, right? Um which ultimately I find didn't really go as far as it should, but in terms of just getting James Rima himself to just have his own story arc, yeah, it was fine. It was fine. It was fine. Nafisa Williams, right, who plays Thunder, she has her own little subplot as well too. It involves her actually girlfriend turned wife because yeah, they actually got married in the third season, but they didn't really make it official
right.
until in this season here, right? But yeah, well, forget to mention another subplot. So Tobias ends up acquiring this emitter, basically that could shut down and basically disable any meta's powers, right? So yeah, lightning gets affected as well. I wouldn't. Well, I'll get to kind of what happens there, but particularly Thunder and her girlfriend slash wife, who calls herself Wild. Basically, her powers is that she could basically like turn into anyone, but in her case, she could turn into this is it not a panther, a leopard basically. She could turn into a leopard, right? But she also could fight and stuff like that, right? So yeah, basically their powers are shut down. But Wild is like, well, you know what? I kind of like the fact that I don't have to worry about powers and my life being ruined because of these powers and all that kind of stuff. But no, well, Thunder's like, no, I want my powers back. So that's a nice little conflict there, right? I forgot to mention my boy Jordan Calloway returns as Painkiller, and I seen this one time. We need to have a Painkiller spin-off, like as
Okay.
soon as.
Right.
I know that there was although I didn't see it all. I'll talk about it now. I was hearing through the grapevine that they were working on a pilot, like okay, so I don't know what the term is, but basically is you just make the pilot, and whether it's greenlit or not, it's just there, right? So if it's greenlit, it's a show, you see it, but if it's not, then it's like whatever, right? So that's what it is.
Right.
But I have a feeling that they actually worked that into the season because you literally have an episode called Painkiller, right?
Right.
What
And the, time,
happens is
the term for it, well, I think the term for it, if it's anything, it's called backdoor pilot.
that's it. Yes,
Yeah.
backdoor pilot. That's it.
Right.
Yeah, right. So yeah, and it shows up right in the middle of the season here. So I have a feeling it's that. But what I was worried about was that it was just going to be a full episode about him, and we won't see him again. But actually, he does come in the second half of the series, of the season, which I totally dug, right? But yeah, here basically he's still dealing with this dual identity thing, and how they show it here because they kind of brought it up in the third season. They actually had a great fight scene involving his good and bad side, and they played the Tribe Called Quest. Oh my god! And
Right.
well, as I said in my review, that just blew my mind. Cause I just never heard a Tribe Called Quest song used in a fight scene at work. And for me, just to touch quickly on Painkiller as a character, he just like Tobias Whale were characters that grew on me over time. Like
Yeah.
first season, I didn't really care for him. Like he was the love interest for Lightning's character, right? But sorry, I keep saying Lightning's character, right? For Jennifer, right? That's her name,
Yeah.
right? But and then afterwards, he couldn't walk, and the thing with the spine, and
Yeah.
Tobias
It's
literally
it's,
ripping
it's
off the
a
spine and stuff,
yeah.
and
It's a pick me character. He's a pick me
yeah,
character. He just
yeah.
did, and they had to come up with an excuse for why he did.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
first season I was like, nah, I'm really not feeling this guy, Dre.
And then
Second season,
that fake Ross was no.
Yeah, exactly. Second season was when they really started to make him the villain now. So, the man would go as far as actually kill his mom and all that kind of stuff. I was like, whoa,
Right.
you know what I mean? But in the third season, that's when it kind of set up that, oh, there is the good side inside of him. Literally inside of him. And it's just this, like, the two halves basically fighting each other inside of his mind. And, it made for a great character that I actually end up liking even more. You know what I mean? But with this season, with this episode here in particular, it's basically showing where he's at right now. Him basically trying to overcome, or I should say disable, something called a kill code, right? So basically that is what kind of have the two halves split, right? But once the kill code is disabled, then he'll be back to normal, right? And while he's doing while he has to deal with that, yeah, he's also a kick-ass assassin as well. You know what I mean? Just doing jobs, right? So think of him like how Hawkeye was Ronin in the
Right.
Avengers films.
Right.
Right, that's what he is. He's just that guy who goes and stops bad guys and he gets to beat people up and looks awesome. And what makes it awesome is because he is doing his own stunts. So it's not like they're gonna just cut to like a medium or wide where is a stunt man. You see him a lot in these fights, Jen. And just touch on the fights quickly, they picked some of the best music imaginable for his fight scenes. I heard a Mobb Deep song. They actually do a little Luke Cage thing. They actually pull out a Wu-Tang Clan song. I'm talking about from Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
Right.
They bring out Protect Your Neck. They bring out Protect Your
Right.
Neck for no
Yeah.
yeah, they bring out Protect Your Neck for a fight scene. And it was just badass too. And where they actually took his character to the very end, though, I dug as well. And one thing I really, really dug also too was how they show the duality. So it starts off with kind of them in a room, in a sort of like a Japanese architecture type room. So you have the bad, painkiller, talking, have like a distortion with his voice. The other one talks normal and he dresses in white. The other guy dresses in black. And ever so often they will choose, okay, I will just take over this body, I'll take over your body. So, when I do my move, which is basically injecting you with this venom, I could either leave you, I could either let you die, or I could just inject you with some anti-venom and you come through scot-free there. So I love how they play that. And just the back and forth between the two work for me. And, just Jordan himself, like he really does shine. He really does own this character, right? And I really will love to see him get a spin-off. I highly doubt it, but I would
Yeah.
love it too, right? And really and
Well, the
truly,
problem the problem is that because they do a big rehaul of everything with the whole crisis thing, and because all of this exists on one Earth now, right? Like that's the whole point of it.
yeah.
But because the quote unquote rehaul of the crisis was really just to give the new Superman show all the money, right? So that's why
you
I
know.
don't expect the new show to get a green light. Like, look, if the kid, if he charismatic enough, great. But I ain't seen it happening.
Yeah, and speaking of Crisis, they do make little references or two to other characters. Like there's literally a moment where they could have show Flash, but he doesn't show. It's just, oh,
Right,
what I mean, I know a guy who lives in Central City. It's that, right?
right,
They
right,
also bring up the League of Assassins. So you have a character by the name of Ishmael, who literally is a black ninja, right? Like an African American ninja guy. Like literally, he
right.
dresses like those old 80s military camouflage esque kind of ninja garbs.
Right.
And at first I was like, okay, this is. So one thing that the show does well, I would defend the show for this, right? It always embraces its black exploitation, right? I
Yeah,
would
exactly.
argue and call this thing a neo black exploitation show, right?
Yeah,
Where you would have characters who, at first glance might be kind of outlandish, like, hey, there's a black ninja, and hey, there's a gangster called Lala, and he talks
yeah,
like he's something out from a 70s movie, but he's tough and really uber evil, you know what I mean? But it because the show just kind of knows how to balance it well, it works, right? And yeah, like, so even somebody like this Ishmael character worked for me, and he actually got a really cool fight with Painkiller, which was dope, but I won't spoil anything to me on that. Something that well kind of weirded me out at first, this is like my minor spoiler, right, is that halfway into the show they actually replace Jennifer's character, Lightning. They end up bringing in somebody new to fill her shoes now. There's an explanation behind it, but basically in a nutshell, it involves the ionosphere, and she got sucked into it, and then well,
Right.
somebody else kind of came in now.
Okay, so I heard about this because like the real actress, a little off the kind of I wasn't sure what happened exactly, but she kind of off the deep end because if you're on TikTok and she's like a big like religious conservative type. No, I don't know that. Um,
Yeah, well, I know in like oh gosh, there was this that is the whatchamacallit, the DC. What is it, boy? The old showcase that they had last year, the
Fandom,
the online thing, fandom, right?
right?
Yeah, there was this interview thing, the panel there, and she kept just mentioning, faith in God,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
kinds of stuff. Like, okay, yeah, yeah, you're
yeah.
religious, which is cool, cool, you know what I mean?
No, no, she
But
she's
yeah,
like no, she's like getting to arguments. Like she's that type of religion.
oh,
So it's like,
okay,
oh, I
okay,
could I could tell you about the watchmaker hypothesis, and like, all right, I didn't know she was that. I watch it. She was on TikTok
all
and,
right.
and doing that sort of God thing. So I got skip. She about watching she face and like she's looking familiar. It's like, oh, that's that chick from Black Lion, great. And it's like it's a sort of weird religious crap. She pushing on people. And like, okay,
Look, I understand the quarantine and it just had people thinking, the pandemic has just had people thinking, but come on, people, we don't need to hear every single view you have about the world, right? You know what I mean? Like a Gina Carano for or something like that, right? Anyway, moving on, right? So yeah, her character got replaced there, but they set it up at first like, oh, she was reborn. I wouldn't say how
right.
it happens as reborn as this new character.
It's yeah, it's a mini comic that I'm familiar with. So like, okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was okay. It was in the comic. Okay,
Yeah,
because
that's that thing.
I was like, okay, so midway into the end, into the final season, you're gonna do this kind of beat and switch and bring in a new actor. You know what I mean? Like come
Right.
on, right? But
Nah,
but 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 they rectify it in the end, and it was very 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 satisfying. It makes more sense now how it plays out in the final episode, but it still kind of leaves it open as to okay, the possibility of it happening again. That's all I'll say. But it was still off. Like because in my mind it was
yeah,
like, okay, is she going to be this new chick now? Is she going to be for the rest of the show? And like just talk quickly, acting wise, she's okay, and they
right.
have moments where she's like, well, I'm not like how I was before, and that kind of stuff now. But still, it was just like kind of off-putting there. But how they work it out, I'll say in the end was satisfying, but still kind of like why they like
It's
why do this in the first
yeah,
place now?
yeah. It's one of those too little, too late things I find. It's like if it wasn't the last season, then I could kind of understand why they might do it. But again, she herself might be a problem child on set now. That was spec happen. So yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
which is kind of weird too because well, I mean the actress who plays her sister, well, I mean the sister character is openly gay now, right? And I
right,
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just always feel like there's this,
right,
respect going on. So it's
yeah,
like I don't have to step on your toes as long as you
yep,
step on mine. That kind of vibe now. But
yeah, yeah,
I was telling about TikTok and what she doing. It's like okay, yeah, okay,
yeah,
right. Also, yeah, Tobias Whale. I forgot to mention him. Played by Marvin Jones, aka Marvin Jones the third, aka Crondon, right? This man has impressed me, like continues to impress me
yeah,
as this robot. I like at first, in the first season, he was just that guy that you just love to hate now because he's just so brutish and tough and evil and just
yeah.
um brutal at times now. But over this season, the series basically, he just grew, and for me, he's like one of my favorite villains in the Arrowverse, hands down, Tread. And you really do get some great moments involving him and Jefferson because remember the final night is the final moments with them now, you know what I mean? And just seeing how his plan kind of comes together is great as well. And just him in general, just like really growing as an actor, Jed. So like for me, if there's one thing I could take away from the show here is yeah, Tobias Wheelchair and just the actor who plays him. Another favorite character who shows up is the character of TC, right? Technocraft, which is the character that I really enjoyed in the third season. He was this black kid who basically could like um how to describe his power. He could basically communicate with tech, any tech, whether it's a phone or a computer, whatever, and basically know what's going on in the computer. Like if it's working properly or if it's detects something, all that kind of stuff now, right? And yeah, he comes back as well to basically to help out to help out Jennifer, with this stuff with the ionosphere and all that kind of stuff. And they do hint at a possible kind of romantic relationship between the two,
Yeah,
which is even weirder now when the new chick comes in, but it worked there, right? Other than that, though, as for flaws, I mean, it's still a CW show, so yes, you will get the CW style of visual effects and filmmaking
right.
and all that kind of stuff. I will lie though, like going into the first episode, like I had to rewire my brain because it was. I mean, I just watched like two MCU shows, right? So it's like, well, we're going back to CW. Okay, right. We still doing this kind of budget kind of thing, right? But to be fair, I mean the direction is still solid. Dialogue solid as well. Music choices excellent as well, and this is one thing the show really nails as well in terms of its blackness basically, right? You would have like these soul songs from the 70s and 60s, right? But you also have like rap songs from the 80s, 90s, and upwards, right? And they just have a way of just kind of blending those eras together, right? Also, just before I wrap up now, they do touch on Black Lives Matter. There's actually one particular moment where it literally stops to show you the possibility of it happening in Freeland, and I felt like it was a really sloppy moment. It just kind of felt like,
Right,
oh, we just have to kind of let audiences know, yes, we're aware that Black Lives Matter exists. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah,
let's show random shots of riots that took place last year. But I was like, well, oh gosh, in the context of the show, it
right.
really didn't look, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I do
that's the
get
problem.
why they did it. Yeah, it just they just fit it in the wrong way. And even used hers, right, the singer song. I think the name of the song is I Can't Breathe, if I'm not mistaken.
Right,
That's the song that won her first Grammy, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, I mean, I love the song, but just how they work it into the show is like, I don't
yeah,
really know, right?
yeah,
Also, what else? What else? What else? And yeah, just including the finale itself. Solid. Totally dug it. It's not perfect. It, but it does leave room for more things that could happen in the future. And I don't know what the plan is with the Arrowverse, if they're gonna at least have some of these side characters show back up in other shows, like say a Flash or a super, well, not Supergirl, but I don't know, like Legends of Tomorrow or something. I
right.
think that would be great.
That's what I
Yeah.
suspect might happen. So with the follow to the show, it's still they clearly would have a couple actors or whoever it is will stay on point and say, okay, you could go into Legends tomorrow or whatever it is. But again, I don't know the fallout from the focus on the new Superman show is kind of undermine everything because of the nature of the Superman show, kind of hard to cross over with anything. Um, so that's why I can't see how any of this stuff could go forward. Because
Right.
even all Flash and Batwoman and them kind of to me on the cutting room floor now too now. Like I could easily see all these shows ending as well. I would be
Mhm.
surprised. I mean, only Flash could stick around because Flash was so successful in the past. But again, Flash shit in the bed for a hot minute
But
now.
Flash needs to end, man. Like I
Yeah,
think,
Flash in a bed. Flash.
sorry,
I
like I think that they're trying to do the supernatural thing, or I should say the Smallville thing, where
small thing
it
and
could
get
just
it.
go
Get,
just a few more seasons,
right,
and we go a
exactly.
few more and a few more, and then you realize we on what 15 seasons. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
come on, stop. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but I do think it was a mistake going. To be honest, I find the show should have ended on season 6. Like they should have, it could have easily ended on season 6. Season 6 would have been perfect to end the show. But whatever.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, as I
Right,
say, the
but yeah,
problem. Anyway, the problem is that because the Superman show is so all encompassing, not only it's very high budget, but the actual quality of the show is like really high. So it's taking up everything. So I can't see anything any other show taking over. Now this new show gonna be the foundation for any crossover if they will be happening. And I can't see any of these actors sticking around because the nature of the show change.
yeah.
Whatever, we'll see.
Right. But yeah, just includes with the final episode. This will satisfy and please fans. I was certainly pleased, even though
Yeah.
getting there was a little on the bumpy side of things, right? But it's your final season, so you have to kind of wrap things up, and stuff that you probably would have want to explore in another season. You kind of have to do here and kind of rush things. So yes, it does have a bit of a rush feel ever so often though, but where it comes, where it all ends, yeah, I was satisfied, man. And it does leave the door open basically for these characters to go into other shows, which I would love to see. Like see a Legends or something like that. You know what I mean? Particularly with the PSs themselves, right? And not well, I should also say Painkiller as well. I think that he could make for a good anti-hero in that world, right? But as a whole, though, just this season, it was decent. It was a decent way to end things off. Um, Personally, I would have loved it to go for one more season, like just
Right, me too.
end it at a five. I mean, just make it
Yeah,
full five.
but
Yeah.
I always make the argument that to me 4 or 5 is perfect to end a show. To be honest, like that is what show should get. You don't go beyond that.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. But I like also too that it doesn't really waste any time. It's not like really trying to, how to say, it's not like trying to add a whole bunch of new things. It's just basically kind of taking, basically what was the, basic points of, the show itself, the series itself now, and just wrapping it up as neat as possible. And for the most part, I think that they got through, right? So rating wise, I would give this a lighter decent 3.5 out of 5.
Right.
I think that if you are a fan, you will enjoy it, right? Don't let the bait and switch that I mentioned with Jennifer throw you off entirely. Because yeah, they were playing a real dangerous game with that. Because people probably would have just like left the show as soon as that moment happened. But I stuck
Right.
through. I stuck through just to see how things play out, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was satisfied how things play out. That's all I say. Um,
If it's anything like the comic, then it's not that bad of an idea. But the problem is that you don't switch actresses midstream. That's a big like general big no. You gotta
exactly.
figure out a way to get rid of them. You know, drum them out of the show. You slowly but surely get rid of them, and then they take. But when they instantly do that is some real Poochie from The Simpsons kind of foolishness now. Bad move. But whatever.
Oh my god. Wow, oh my god. Like kids ask their parents about Poochie. Kids ask their parents, right?
It's
Yeah.
the template. It's the template for when the creators like stop giving a fuck about something. It's almost always that. Like,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I just like actually remember the episode when it
yeah,
happened. But
yeah.
anyway, so
Just died
as
in
a
space. Because everybody was making Gina Carano jokes with that.
yeah,
She not gonna be that. Yeah, she just died on
yeah,
her way to Alderaan.
yeah. So as a whole with this show here, just Black Lightning as a whole, I would say that this is and will be destined to be an underrated gem as
Yeah,
far as all these superhero shows go, right? Like
yeah,
I know it has some people who just don't like it because they find the tone is uneven. They find it's it feels like some sort of 90s superhero show, be like like a Super Force or a Mantis.
no,
I
not so
totally
bad.
disagree with that, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it does at times have that sort of goofy 90s vibe to it, right?
Yeah,
Especially with costumes and the visual effects.
what I'll say about the show is that I felt personally they just didn't get enough of a budget to express themselves properly. But I felt
Agree.
they did
Yeah.
their own thing, like for the most
Yeah.
part. Like I can't be mad at any of it because it's like yeah, they just do their own thing. And to me, because ultimately this stuff, this goofy nonsense, you gotta give it a budget. You can't like get away with this nonsense. Sorry to say it, you gotta spend your money, you gotta get your quality, and then you could sell after the fact, right?
Agreed.
Until you do
Yeah.
that, right? That is the secret sauce to this, right? No other, nothing else does work, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that how they shouldn't really get a big budget. We could speculate as to why black people, but whatever,
Uh-huh.
right? But
Yeah.
whatever, it's fine.
But yeah, you're right. This is a show that really could have benefited with a bigger budget though. But me, they use what it is they had, and yeah, they use it very, very well in my opinion. They got great
Yeah,
performances, really likable characters, I would say. And just one thing as a whole, as I think the show, why the show will last, right? Will have longevity, is because yeah, it's African Americans. You know what I mean? Just being superheroes, right? And that's something that you yes, I mean, we know we have Blade, we have Black Panther and that kind of stuff, but you don't normally see black superheroes on network television, right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And relatable, real characters, right? Um,
yeah,
I even applaud how they kept things contemporary and kept
yeah,
thing, kept in terms of social issues. You know what I mean? They kept their ear to the ground. They knew
yeah.
how to tap into certain things. At times it could feel a little heavy-handed, but it does have a lot of heart and soul to it. You know what I mean?
No,
And yeah,
if it's anybody I would like to see get a career or a job after all of this is well the showrunner of the show. I felt he made so
yeah.
many
Salim Akil.
yeah, I
Yeah,
felt he made so many like seriously, I like would love if Disney hire him, Marvel hire him for some project in the future or something like that, like something because I felt they made so many. he made so many great decisions for what he had. He made it
Yes.
work. None of it. What was smart about the character development overall in Black Lightning is just they actually like address a lot of like typical superhero things that I always hated. Like he kind of get past his shit and they actually like you know you know evolve some of the argumentation about what a superhero should be if it happening now, right?
Yeah, and
Thematically,
in
it was
particular, sorry to cut it, and in particular, yeah, the idea of being married, though, you know what I mean? Like, look at
yeah,
how
yeah, yeah. He's
being
a
Black
grown
Lightning
man.
affect his marriage, right? Like, look at
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah. No, but they just made the premise of him just being a grown ass man. Like, yeah, he's a grown ass man, but he's still a superhero, and they didn't make it dumb now. Um, and I can't be mad at any of it in that sense. Anyway,
yeah, agreed.
rated.
So wrapping up. Well, rated for the whole show. Get into it, right? But really and truly, what I talk about the show though is how it just embraced the elements that they brought into it, right?
Right.
It's black exploitation. It's woke drama, right? It's goofy 90s superhero shows, and it's also comic book weirdness, right? And it just managed to just put all that into the show here. So yes, you will get the black exploitation esque villains like Lala and Tobias, right? But they're
Right.
not just archetypes. They modernize, and especially Tobias Whale, which who I still see is one of the best villains in the Arrowverse. Like yeah, they just twist the archetype now into here, yeah, being an albino guy, with strength and basically saying, yeah, because I know more than you Negroes, basically, yeah, I could pull off all these elaborate plans to just attain dominance and all that kind of stuff now. So it all works, right? And then of course, well, just kind of keeping things balanced as well too, or at least making the audience aware of the balances in music as well, right? To see choices as well. So at the end of the day, you can kind of look at it as a neo black exploitation show, a tribute to black exploitation film, tribute to black cinema, and just black excellence and black superheroes as a whole. So rating wise, yeah, I'm gonna give this a like 4 out of 5, man. The series itself. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend checking it out. It's bumpy, right? It's not perfect, but then again, none of these CW shows are perfect anyway.
Right.
Not even Flash, which we've defended for a while. But
Yeah.
it has a lot of good in this show. And last thing I'll say, it's a shame that people might just kind of turn their nose at it and be like, well, this looks dumb, and oh
No,
gosh, a guy with lightning powers.
I just
But
yeah, no,
they,
I
they,
just think
they
the show.
make this thing work though. Like for
Yeah.
what it's worth, they made it work. And I do see this show having longevity. Like people are gonna go back to this years from now and be like, wow, like we was real hard on this show, but like why it
Yeah.
was actually really good, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'd
No,
say.
it suffered from bad marketing. Like the only reason that it got a leg in the sand is, and I would argue, is because of Marvel and Disney, right? That's the only reason it got a blight. Because like, oh well, they doing the black thing, we are the black thing. They give a short chance, but you can't. We had to give it some actual quality and gravitas because
Mm.
fuck it up, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah,
Then
but your thoughts on the well, sorry, well, wrap up and then you could just share your thoughts on the whole series, right? Well, sorry,
right,
well, the show at the moment for you as a whole.
yeah, no, like as I said, I just glad it got a chance, to do what it wanted to do now, for what it was, and I can't be mad at any of it going forward because they made a lot of like it actually evolved the TV show stuff. I can't be. That's what it did, in a sense. Flash never really did that. Flash started okay, and then just totally dropped the ball. I don't know what happened or when, but it just completely dropped the ball in terms of its material. Um, but Black Lightning always felt like okay, it feel like actual characterization and you know just smart storytelling for what it is. For lack of a better term, I mean it's still goofy superhero bullshit, right? But they make it
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but I actually just appreciate that they make an effort. Like it's an effort in a way that you never expect them to make an effort to. And I really think that it should just get a better budget. It's a shame. Could I give it a better budget and it would work? It would be like a big hit if it had better money for just promotion. Like seriously, marketing is why the show suffer. Right? The only reason that I actually knew the show was as of good quality is because like, oh, the people on the subreddit actually well rated the show. And they rated the show more than they could have. Like, oh, the show actually like pretty good for what it was and better. I wasn't given season 3 a chance until you rated it up. Seriously. If it
Mm.
wasn't for you, you're on
Yeah.
this show. Usually I just get
Yeah,
this
I
stuff.
know, I know, and I remember like people was like, "Boy, you still watching Black Lightning?" Like, well,
Exactly.
dude, it going good. I don't know
It's
what.
going good.
Well,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
because Marvel doing their thing, and this is before they did their phase for TV run, eh?
Yeah,
and people were still like heated on this show for some reason.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is actually happening. Is the Iron Giant effect, right? Iron Giant is a show that a lot of people consider brilliant, but at the time, it takes serious L's at the box office because they didn't get the
Mm,
right promotion. They didn't know what to look for.
yeah.
That's how it is. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. So give the show a chance, please. Yes, give the show a chance. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, then I guess it's not. But yeah, man, give it a look, man. I mean, give it a chance. They really put effort into this, man. And like I said before, I do see the show having longevity. You know, I mean, in the long run, I do see people gonna go back to this and be like, wow, we were so hard on this show back then. Wow, and like, shame on us. You know what I mean? But yeah. Not much more we could say. Black Lightning was a real deal, man. All in all, man. So, thanks for, to the people behind the scenes for blessing us with four, solid enough seasons. I guess this is not the end of the Arrowverse as is, though, but I would like to see some of these characters from the show, go
Right.
to, spread their wings elsewhere. So, yeah, that's all we had to say.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Matthew Bailey, and I hope you've enjoyed this segment of the BS Beats and Bailey podcast. If you'd like to hear the full episode, hit up my link tree. On the other side of my head are 2 videos you can check out. Like this video if you like it, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell as well. Thanks for listening, and until the next one, take care, peace.